welcome. This is it. So a couple things for this week.
It's the podcast!
It is. So we're not going to talk about movies this week again. Avengers just came back out. We'll have a special little 20-minute thing put on the feed as well where we talk about nothing but that. So if you don't want spoilers, don't listen to it. And if you listen to it anyways and complain about how there's spoilers, then fight me.
It's about Avengers Endgame, by the way.
Yeah. So
we're doing it within the last 20 minutes of this.
But it will be
It's
going to be a separate feed, or
It's going to be separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you're not going to have to worry if you just listen to this one.
We'll just put it like a telephone beep.
Yeah. Superman dies.
Everybody dies in this one.
So we'll do that. But yeah, story of the week. We got me, Steven,
Hey.
and our friend JJ.
Hey, how's it going?
And we have, first time ever this week, a live audience. And he didn't do it.
He couldn't decide on what sound effect he wanted to make.
The live audience couldn't decide on the noise he wanted to make.
He took a breath and had
Also, a special guest of our new somebody's eating Skittles. So if you hear the crackling, that's
This podcast is officially sponsored by Skittles.
No, it's
Hashtag not spawned.
It's not.
They're delicious.
But yeah, so we have a live audience, and we're gonna get started. So this will be fun because Steven tells me his story of the week is gonna make people hate him,
Yep.
and my story of the week is going to make people hate me. So
JJ's got.
let's start with JJ.
No, he should go last.
He should go last because you don't know what's happening.
So he knows what's going on.
I didn't prepare a story, but
It's okay.
It's okay.
So yeah, we're just literally just gonna tell a story for the week. Mine happened today.
that's awesome.
Well, at least one of them did. So, this morning, this has been like an eventful weekend. Like it just started. Of course, Thursday night, Endgame comes out. Really excited. Great movie. Talk about it later. Yesterday we had Secret Church, which went from I guess 6:30 to 1:30, 2 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
So hold up, just about that. As I was leaving, so I had to leave at 1 because I worked at 2, and as I was walking out, Perry looked at me and starts pointing down to the seat, yelling, "Sit down!" And I can't tell if he was joking or not, and I can't tell if he heard me say I have to go to work. So I'm 100% sure he thinks I just dipped early and left, and I'm like,
Nah,
yeah.
I know. I know.
It's.
I had to sleep.
Bro, I felt bad for you at that because you you were struggling to get up and leave because you got up and sat down like 3 times.
Yeah, I didn't want to because I was like, he's almost done. He's almost done. And then I was like, no.
The Joker was an auctioneer in the form of a preacher.
Okay.
Anyways, so we had Secret Church. That was incredible. I think I'm going to spend my quiet times for the foreseeable future just going through that book and going through the different parts of prayer and fasting because it was awesome. And then I got 4 hours of sleep this morning and then went to morning prayer. That was great. Got another half hour of sleep, and then we had a service project, right? And so our service project today is we went to a children's shelter, like a foster home for kids, and that's always fun. Like I think I've been there 5 times, and it's gotten to a point where like the kids like recognize me, like they know my name and stuff like that, like when I show up, which is awesome. I don't know if that sounds prideful or not, but I enjoy going there. We spend time with them, we hang out with them, we play games and whatnot. And there was this one kid today, so we played soccer, and he's really good at soccer. Like he's really good for someone his age. And we divide up into teams and we play a little bit. And my team is like the opposite of this little kid's team, and my team scores. And this kid and another kid like start like making fun of like the girl who was like in between the trees that was in the goal or whatever, and like she just walks away and like sits behind a tree and just starts crying, right? And so like my protective instinct is I hate bullying. I don't like people being made fun of like to that point or whatever, especially when we're just playing like sports and whatnot. It's just a game. And so the horrible part here is like so there's that old phrase, like I guess that you think of like like for kids, like when somebody is like acting out or something at like an event, you go, "Where are your parents?" And I like that went through my head, and I like thought about that for like these kids, and I'm like, "Where's this kid's parent?" And then I remembered where we were and like what our event was, and I was like, "Oh, am I a terrible person for thinking that?"
Yeah.
Like as we were going through, and I was like, "Oh man." And I really had like to have a reality check. I told Caleb that, and he was like, "You are the worst person ever for thinking about that," because that's like the darkest thing anybody could think at a foster home. But we enjoyed it. Like the girl, got through it. I told her like a really general pick me up story, and she was okay.
Is that what I heard you talking about at the house? Like, all I heard, I was headed toward your couch, and then I heard the word orphan in the background.
Yeah,
I think you were talking to Caleb.
Yep, because we were talking about the definition of like an orphan. I don't know if like foster kids or orphans are like different definitions, but from what I understand, these kids were not like without parents, but they were like just not in their parents' like custody.
Okay.
Yeah, at least on the Saturdays when we go. So.
Okay.
But. Yep. So I'm a terrible person because that was what went through my mind when I saw this kid bullying somebody. So hopefully they'll still allow me back, even if somebody hears the podcast. That's what I had.
Okay. So Thursday afternoon, Matt and I went to go see Avengers at 6. I had tickets. I'm not gonna talk about the movie, so suck it. But we went, and South Carolina these past couple weeks has been really beautiful, like weather-wise. And I mean, it's getting a little hot, but like I don't mind the heat. I don't mind the hotness. And so it was very sunny, very beautiful, and I took my I wore my sunglasses like to the movie theater. And for those of you who don't know or are sitting at home thinking, why the heck would he mention sunglasses? I'm colorblind. These are special gifts that I was given to allow me to actually like see colors when I wear them. So I took them and I was like, oh, it's very beautiful outside. And Matt and I talked about the movie on the way there. So we get to the movie theater, we sit down, and I put them in the cup holder of the chair. And about 10 minutes goes by and I look at them and I'm like, I'm going to leave these at the movie theater. This is a bad idea. And I'm like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my phone in the cup holder so that when I get up and leave, I won't forget both of them. Like, there's no way I'll forget both. Like, I got my phone and I'll just pick my phone up and be like, oh yeah, my sunglasses are in here. I'll pick them up and go. So we start watching the movie and we get about 3/4 of the way in and someone texts me. And like my phone's on vibrate, like it doesn't like bing or anything, but like it makes that vibrate sound. You know how like when it's on like a flat surface, the vibrate's like exaggerated? And I was like, I don't want this to happen again. So I picked my phone up and put it like on my lap. Because I hate things in my pocket. That's why these things are in the cup holder anyways. Like my pockets, I don't like things to be in my pockets because it weighs my pants down.
Also, were you in one of those theaters where it's like the lean back?
Yeah,
chairs?
where's the lean back seat?
Yeah.
And
so like stuff in your pocket like is even.
Yeah, it like falls out. Yeah, it's dumb. So I have my phone in my lap. The movie ends. Matt and I are talking. Matt's on my left. The sunglasses are on my right. And we're talking about the movie. He's like, hey, I heard there's, not an extra credit ending scene. I'm like, oh, that's sad.
Spoiler alert. Don't waste your time.
Yeah. And so we were like talking about all these kind of stuff. We waited to the end because we didn't trust Wikipedia. And then we got up and left. And I had work that night, so I went to work, and then I went back to my house, and then I slept. And about 6, I was going to Secret Church, and I walked outside. I'm like, it's very sunny out here, and I turned around. I was like, I'm like, all right, my sunglasses. Like, I'm gonna go to my desk. They're not on my desk, and I was like, what? And I went to my table by my bed, and they're not on the table, and I was like, what? And I went to the couch, and they're not on the couch. I was like, what? And I left them at the movie theater.
That's
Dang.
Yeah.
Bro.
intense.
And
That
so
Do they have like some sort of insurance on them or something like that?
I don't know. So I called my dad because I was like, I'm gonna cry, and I was like, listen, like, I'm really sorry, like this happened, like life sucks, and he like, hey, it's fine, like I'm going over there tomorrow anyways, like, to watch the movie with your mom, like we'll check, and I was like, yeah, cool, and then he called me about 20 minutes ago. He's like, yeah, they're not there, and I was like, dang it.
Dang.
But they're gonna buy me another
Dang.
pair. I'm really thankful for my parents.
First, wait. So first, your starter, and now your glasses.
That my
The
parents
start.
had
No. First the starter
on my car.
on your car,
Oh,
and now
yeah.
your glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, things just happen.
That's intense.
Yeah.
Dang, man.
I'm really grateful for my parents. I'm also really grateful to be not poor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my story.
Oh, man, that's heart-wrenching.
It
I remember, so like, you know how like you can like scroll through social media and you see like those videos of those like
Yeah.
kids reacting like when they're deaf and they get like hearing aids and stuff like that or whatever. So I think like one of the most emotional things I've seen was seeing your video that your sister posted when you got those glasses, and like they showed you balloons and like were asking you what color the balloons were, and you were actually able to pick them out.
Yeah. So before that moment, I'd
That's
never
what
seen the
was
color not purple, brown in my life. Like pure, like just straight up. Had never like I'd known that like people are always like, yeah, this is brown. I'm like, all right, cool. But like depending on the shade, it was either green or red.
Yeah.
I had never seen the color brown. And then people always made fun of me in middle school and elementary school because they'd be like, hey, paint this picture. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I paint the ocean, it would be purple. And they'd be like, you suck. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, what are you trying to do to me?
That's crazy.
So
But
like
yeah.
you couldn't wear those glasses like at the movie theater though.
No,
Like you wouldn't be able to
so-
see the movie in color.
Yeah, so they use light to come through. So like the brighter it is, the better they work. So in the movie theater, like it's all dark and stuff. So I'd be able to see the movie, but like it'd be really dark. And we
Yeah.
were already on the front row, and so
A lot of you guys got front row.
yeah, so like because those are the last seats available, and every person's hands looked like the Hulk's hands. Like, because they were huge. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I was already, like, this movie is already, like, out of proportion anyways. Like, yeah, I'm going to come back to see it, like, again in the future because, again, it's out of proportion. But I don't want to, like, not see half the stuff. So, I did not wear them.
How mad was Matt that he had to sit on the front row?
I mean, he was cool with it. Like, I essentially gave him a free ticket. Because, like, I got the tickets to take my dad. Because...
You got it from Perry.
Yeah, I bought them from Perry, and then I was gonna take my dad because growing up we had like we did a lot of stuff together. But like after I moved out and went to college and everything, like our relationship's always like, hey, come over Sunday, we need to do taxes, or hey, come over, we need to talk about this. And I was always like, we don't have fun anymore. So like I was gonna take him, but then he was like, yeah, I'd like to go, but I have a date with your mom that night. I'm like, that's cool. So I took Matt instead, and so like. I was giving him a free movie ticket, and he was like, and I'm going to go see it again anyways. Like, I don't really care if it's on the front row or not.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, when you're in the front row and you're on one of those reclining seats, it really doesn't matter. Like, everything's out of proportion and everything, but you don't have to, like, kill your neck to see anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Which theater did you go to?
Columbiana Grand.
Okay.
The nice one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were about to say that you left your phone.
My phone's right here.
Well, it is right there. I see that now. But I was just thinking about how I left my phone there at Columbiana Grand.
Yeah.
Like, it was...
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, it fell through one of the seats because, I fall asleep on every movie that I
Do you-
ever
do
endeavor
you really?
to watch. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Usually when I go to a theater, I'll try to set myself up to win a little bit more. So, because it's like a pain.
Yeah.
But,
Mhm.
in most cases, if I'm tired, it's dark, I'm going to fall asleep. But I walked out of the theater without it and then didn't realize it until the next day. So I'm like Find My iPhone to like try to locate it. And I saw that it was at the theater. But I had to go twice because the first time I went to the theater, the woman, like the manager, went and checked. They were closed, so she went and checked for me. And was like, it's not in there. Like, I checked the wrong seat. And then I come back to go and check when the theater was actually open again. And then immediately, like, went and found it. It was under the seat.
Mm.
I like use a flashlight of a nice young man in the theater. So
Yeah.
I found it. I was kind of freaking out for a second though.
How detailed does that thing get? I've never had to use the like locator, but is it like it'll give you like a block like on Google Maps, or will it like get down to like a square inch of?
Well, so the way I knew that it was at the theater, because I thought maybe I dropped it in the parking lot once she said that it wasn't in there.
Yeah.
So I knew it was around the theater because of the road. I could see the green dot, and then the road was on Bower Parkway, and then the theater right there. So it was like either in the theater or in front of the theater, one of the two.
Got you.
So it was still there. So I just went back to look again. I'm like, it's got to be in here. So.
Were you in the van with us at Playmakers when Zach lost his phone? On the way, it was on the way back.
No.
He so I was so happy that he got to come with us and play as a teenager. He's what, 17?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I wonder if it was even legal for him and Jalen to play in Playmakers. Anyways, so Playmakers is like a flag football tournament that we have in Tampa between our host of churches, and we got a 17-year-old to come play with us for the first time. And on the way back, so we were at the fields like after like the playoffs or whatever, and we were getting ready to drive back, and we were like, Zach is sitting in the van, he's like tapping through his bag and like in his pockets as we're like starting to drive and leave, and he goes, I can't find my phone. And we're like, really? And he's like, yeah, can somebody give me their phone to do the little find my iPhone thing? And so I give him mine, and he like does the locator, and we can hear the little ding ding from his phone, right, making the noise. And so we can hear it, but it's like faded. It sounds like it's like under something or like in a bag or something. And he's like, oh, well, I guess if it's like in the van, then I'll just get it. Because we were going to stop for food. So he's like, I'll just get it when we stop for food. And so we drive for maybe an hour and a half, like 2 hours. And like we finally stop for some food. And he does the locator again, and there's no sound anymore, right? And he's like, I can't find it. And he looks at it, and the locator is still next to the fields in Tampa. And we're like, that doesn't make any sense. And then it dawned on me. I said, Zach, did you set your phone on top of the van, like at any point when we were packing? And he like, it's like one of those like scenes where you like have like a light bulb like in your mind, and his eyes go from like depressed to like dinner plates, like the size of dinner plates. He goes, I did. And I was like, I bet you that junk was on the roof of the van, and it was making a noise, and it slipped off as we were driving.
Wait, so he started locating it while you were still near the field?
Yeah, because we had just started to pull away from the fields, and we could hear it on top of the van, and then it was still down in Tampa. And luckily, so like, we were able to ask some of the sisters who were still down there, like, if they could look along the road for it, and they said they couldn't find it, and so he had to just get a new phone. But we felt terrible because we were all like, nah, don't worry about it, man, it's all good. Like, we can hear the beep, and all of us are like, yeah, man, it's in the van. Like, we can hear the beep, so it's got to be in here. And then come to find out, it was on the roof, and he had to get a brand new one.
I've left my phone on like the back of my car before, and yeah, it got ruined when that happened.
For us?
Yeah, it fell off, and like, yeah, it just got ruined. I had to get a new one, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my story from the week, the Enneagrams.
Yes.
You guys had me take the Enneagram last Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, and you're me. You and I are the same.
Yeah, the two wing three.
Yep.
Not to turn this into an Enneagram podcast or whatever.
We haven't talked about the Enneagram yet, I don't think.
But
I don't think we've even mentioned it.
Well, which is surprising because the whole of the ministry, or like Sam just the other day was saying that Lauren got her to take the Enneagram, and I was like, wow, this is one of those things that, like, if everything we did spread like this, we'd be in a good place. Like, like if
Hey, true.
whenever we had a campaign for something, we're like, hey, do this, like, and it becomes like the norm, the cool thing to do. That would be awesome. But I love when things kind of spread like wildfire, and you know, it's one other thing to kind of feel connected by, I guess. But so I finally took it, and I think it was kind of accurate. I'm the 2, which is called the helper.
I got it. 2, the
Okay.
helper, the
Oh,
caring
snap.
interpersonal type, generous, demonstrative, people-pleasing, and possessive.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
That's
So-
also me as well. And I think you too, aren't you?
Yeah. So this is confession time.
Yeah.
That is 100% me. And if I take it again, I guarantee you I'll get it too.
Yeah.
But when you had me take it the first time, every time I click submit results, it just took me back to the questions
Oh.
and had me like fill them out again. I was like, I'm not doing this like a 5th time. So I just told you I was a 2. Because you were like, I guarantee you were a 2. As I'm like frantically clicking the button and
Yeah.
taking the question over and over again.
It just
I was
kept-
like,
it
it
just-
just kept sitting me back. And I was like, I'm not taking these 50 questions one more time. I'm a
Yeah.
2.
Chewing 3 is called the hostess.
The hostess.
With
Or
the most.
or the host.
Or
Or the host.
the host.
Ah,
Just for
yes.
us.
Yes.
There's
No.
by the way, there's so many of us in the ministry that are 2 wing 3s. It's
Really?
crazy. Yeah. So me, you, Evan, Alyssa.
Wait, Melissa?
Yeah, Alyssa's a 2 wing 3 as
I
well.
can see that.
I thought she was a 6 wing 7.
No.
I'm a.
That's what I am.
6
That's what you are?
Our audience finally
Audience,
speaks.
me too.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah,
right wing 5,
She's-
4.
she's
Wait,
what I
what?
am. Alyssa's what I am.
6.7.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was. I don't remember.
With the backside reverse
I don't know.
twist.
There was a sister that told me that they were 2 wing 3. I thought it was Alyssa. Maybe I'm wrong. Then. But yeah, there's
Definitely Melissa.
twos and 9s are the most common
Yeah.
in our ministry right now. They're
Interesting.
like all over the place.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was crazy. Is when I did mine, I only changed like 5 answers. I left almost all of them in the middle.
Oh, for real?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like that was your
Yeah.
accurate.
No, that was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're just like middle of the road, like on a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
I think the description I got is very accurate. So
Could you just like not see yourself to one side, where you're thinking of examples on both sides of like
Yeah.
the equation?
well, I mean, I just think I don't want to commit to anything too certain. You know, like
Yeah.
words are very important. You know, like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
always and never.
Yeah.
You know, it's never always and always never. You know.
Weren't you saying that
Yeah.
too when you were taking it? You were like, I don't really want to put myself all the way on the end because I don't think that's ever true.
I mean, there's some
no,
questions.
I was the opposite. Like if I felt like I had a strong bias,
Yeah.
then I just go ahead and put.
Yeah, there's
all the
some
way to
questions
one
that I'm
side.
like, oh,
Yeah.
100% like throw
as
this
much
way
as
over
I
there.
could, I wanted to do that. But if it wasn't like a clear, like like all the way, I preferred to like kind of have it in the middle. I preferred to answer it as though it's like I don't really like lean one way or the other. So it's kind of like if I have a bias, then I'm gonna lean to
Fully biased.
Fully
Yeah.
biased.
Yeah.
The easiest question I had to answer that entire test was the do you think things through before you speak question. I said no, 100%. Heck no.
No.
That was
No at
the
all.
easiest question
That's crazy.
I ever had. That was the easiest question on the entire test. I'm like, throw that way over there.
You're just gonna say
Because I say a lot of dumb stuff.
Well, always host a podcast in which you don't think before you talk. It's gonna be a very interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
always
I'll give you an example from this week. I was in class.
Oh, he told me about this.
I was in class Tuesday. Class hadn't started yet. Me and like some of the guys that I talked to in the class are like talking about this one religion class I have and this specific religion professor that I won't name. And one of the things that she mentions when we read through Galatians, and one of the things that she was talking about is like how Paul is teaching people to become Jewish so that they can become saved. And I was like, that's not what this book is talking about. And in the moment, I had the
More like the exact opposite.
yeah, I had the idea of like, why would I want to become Jewish in order to become saved? Like, what benefit would that be to me? And I talked with that about my roommates and everything. Like we discussed that a lot. But in the moment in this class, I'm sitting there talking, and I very loudly just say, "Why?" Like we're talking about that, and I said, "Yeah, I don't understand it. Why would I want to be Jewish?" And then that was all I said. And I was like, I sat there, I was like,
said that out loud.
I was like, and then everyone, like, I could tell
Not in 2019.
I could tell I made a mistake because like everyone just looked at me, and I was like, hold up, let me back up a little bit. Yeah.
Did you feel everybody's gaze like?
Yeah, no, because I looked, because like
like-
there were people that weren't even in the conversation that I like just looked at me, and like even the guys that were like in the conversation, like some of them just kind of like immediately like turned around and tried to not pretend they were not in the conversation. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm an idiot. Like let me give you some
I thought you were Jewish.
context.
and by that, what I meant.
Yeah.
is-
By that, what I meant was,
Yeah.
you know.
But yeah, so that's the kind of stuff that I that's why that question
Yeah.
was very easy for me to answer,
Yeah.
because I don't think through what I say a lot.
Oh well.
Random fact. You know the grizzly man, the guy who lived in Canada, got killed by like a grizzly bear in like around 2004, 2000 something.
I'm a level with you, no.
You don't know?
No.
Okay. Well, there was this guy called the Grizzly Man who
He lived in Canada about 2004, got killed by a grizzly bear.
He was like essentially living in the area of this like place where a lot of grizzly bears lived, and he wanted to show how like if you know how to deal with grizzly bears, they're actually nicer. And then like there's a whole Werner Herzog did like a documentary on him. You guys probably would know
Yeah.
this, but the point is he is also a 2-wing 3. So,
Okay.
Interesting.
or at least a 2.
For us, don't ever go to Canada.
Yeah. Also, always get mauled by a grizzly bear.
For the
That's
2-wing 3, steer clear.
But
from
like
that.
the documentary is pretty intense. Like when you actually find out what's happening, it's like, oh.
Also,
bro.
always get killed by a grizzly bear while trying to prove the grizzly bears are nice.
That's
That's like the crocodile,
The crocodile
like the
man,
crocodile
crocodile
hunters.
hunter.
Okay,
Like,
but he was killed by stingrays as well.
yeah, but he was like, this stingray won't hurt me.
Was he
I
trying
don't
to? He was like
remember
trying to
when he
commune
was
with it.
Well,
Get
he was
close
just
to it.
he was like on vacation or something, wasn't he? It like
I
wasn't.
thought he
part
was
of-
making a show.
I don't think it was part of the show. That's the thing.
No.
Oh.
I thought he was on vacation.
He was
with
on
his family.
vacation, and I
That's-
think
that's
he
the
was
rest of
trying
these, by
to
the way.
do something, but usually he'd be a whole lot more careful. So everybody was confused as to why that ended up happening, because it's like
Yeah.
if you knew how he was with animals, that definitely would have been.
Yeah, growing up, I loved that show because like it was always really funny to me because he'd be like, "This is the most dangerous snake in the world. I'm gonna poke it with a stick."
Yeah.
This is the. I was like,
Poke it
"Why
with
would you
the
do
stick.
this?"
Yeah. Yep.
I was like,
that always baffled me.
You idiot! It's like this spider. If it bites me once, I'm gonna die. Let me pick it up. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let it walk on my arm.
Yeah. What?
Well, speaking of pick it up, this next thing doesn't relate, but I was gonna jump back to the whole Enneagram thing. Like,
Yeah.
so
Oh, and Stevie Wonder is also too.
two.
Oh, we love Stevie Wonder.
That's my
Shouts out
That's my
Stevie
alter
Wonder.
ego.
So Chelsea, I think she's very into the whole Enneagram
She
thing,
is.
and
She is.
I think she's probably listened to all the podcasts for each of the types.
Yep.
There's a podcast called Love That Neighborhood. Plug them real quick. Go listen to them because they're very interesting.
That was the first one I listened to.
Yeah?
The
No.
two one's good.
The two?
Did you listen to it?
The James Santos.
Yeah.
I listened to it. It was very, very interesting. She was like, "Yeah, you got to listen to this." But I listened to it, and it was interesting to think about like the idea of the healthy side of a personality and the unhealthy side. What it was saying was that twos, when they're being resourceful, that's the word they were using. When they're being resourceful, they can be just very helpful, very caring, like are there for you, like looking to like help fulfill your needs and
Yeah.
are just kind of there for you, like they're very good friends. And it was like, well, but when they're being unresourceful, it becomes this very self-centered or like prideful thing in which they need to be needed. And one of the things that actually kind of stuck out to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is evil is it was talking about the idea of flattery or shelling out compliments to people. And it's like it's kind of this, okay, I'm being nice to you, but really like behind the scenes I just want you to become reliant on my niceness or relying on my kindness to you. And that the more I flatter you, like I need for you to like me, and that idea of like people pleasing and whatnot. Yeah. I just thought, man, that's like so evil, so far away from like the character of Jesus. Because the whole point of the podcast was to try to help this particular personality or everybody's personality kind of take their unhelpful sides of them and then like have Jesus make up for that, like get more toward the character of Jesus, right? For like where you typically seem to veer off that path of being resourceful and whatnot. And I just thought that was very interesting to listen to the podcast because I thought this is some next level stuff. And if every Christian in the world really kind of thought about themselves, thought about the way that they think, thought about who they are as a person.
If every Christian was like a 6,
if every Christian
was like a 6, where you're always questioning everything.
Wait, are you a 6?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And you said you're a 6 too, right?
6 and a 7, yeah.
I'm a 6.5, the worst type.
The worst type?
Is that the worst? That's not your title.
Oh, okay.
What's the title of 6.5?
A 6.5?
Yeah.
Well, a 6 is the loyalist, and like an unresourceful 6 is essentially the most anxious thing in the world.
Feel that.
Where you're always like afraid of everybody, so you're essentially your biggest sort of sin is fear.
Gotcha.
Especially being like without guidance or support. So like you're always afraid of everything. And like 6.5 is a defender. Yeah. So they're always gonna be either defending others to the best of their ability or defending themselves.
Yeah.
And it's usually themselves. Cause, you know, who knows what nefarious things people could be doing. They're paranoid. Yeah. I'm always paranoid.
I was listening to one that it was on twos. It was about how twos can find their love interest or their significant other, and before they like went into like all their like relational like stuff and whatever, because twos are very relational. Like we love people, we love our relationships with people. We get a lot of. I would probably like. Is your number one love language quality time?
No.
It's not?
It's either physical touch or words of affirmation.
Interesting. Okay, because like I know mine's quality time. I think yours is quality time as well.
Yeah.
Like relationships with people are like very key, you know, and being close to people. And so like they go through like they have that like kind of like later in the show, like that was their focus, but before they go to that, they do like a general overview of the twos, like what's their, you know, strength, what's their, like, I think their sin and their message. And what actually crushed me harder than, like, anything that they talked about, like, with the relational stuff was when they talk about the sin of the two, which is pride. Yes. And I'm like, here it goes. Like, this is my moment to learn about pride. But, like, the lady that was, like, the guest on this podcast, like, put it in a different way than what I, like, heard before. She goes, so the sin of the two is pride. That's the sin of Satan. And I said, oh, wow. I've not heard it put like that.
You are Satan.
Yeah, like, get behind me, Satan is like literally directed, hey, Peter was probably a 2.
That's crazy to think about.
But like,
it's so crazy to think about.
Yeah, she said, it was one of the tightest things I've ever heard. She said, it's saying I in front of the one. And I was like, dang.
Wait.
Like Satan saying, like, or us, like, saying I, having the focus on us, like, being prideful in our, like, you know, relationships or whatever, putting the focus on us in front of God, in front of the one, who is the only person who really deserves, like, all the attention, the credit, the praise, you know, and stuff like that. And I heard that, and I was like, I was floored. I was like, terrible because it also could be me and my unhealthy, moments being extremely prideful and like, looking at myself. One thing I think that's really interesting that I had pointed out that I don't think ever since I took the test I've been able to stop thinking about it was that twos, like when they can be unhealthy, can be manipulative in that kind of like what you were talking about, how we enjoy getting that like attention from other people, so we can do things
that seem nice on the outside.
Yeah, just to get the response.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll do that
exactly.
all the time. I need
And
attention.
so I will I've been thinking about that all the time. Like literally, like while we were at Secret Church, I'm like, I'm here. I'm constantly reminding myself, I'm here for God. I'm here to learn.
Yeah.
I'm not here so that other people will see me as spiritual. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's stuff like that where I'm just like constantly reminding myself like what my purpose is.
Which is why it was hard to listen to the podcast, but I felt grateful for it because it kind of opens you up to kind of examining yourself, which is why I felt like, wow, this is such like just a pot of like untapped knowledge or untapped power for like a bunch of Christians. Like if they really kind of like sat down, thought about what kind of personality they are, and then really thought about, okay, what would kind of be their tendencies to kind of go away from being helpful or resourceful. But like definitely, like you were saying, the whole manipulation thing, that it's so easy to slip into because you don't even realize you're doing it. Sometimes like, and it can just be something definitely other people might not realize you're doing because they're not thinking about necessarily how all your motives or what you're doing behind the scenes. So it's like you could easily get away with it if you want to. So nobody's gonna check you on it, nobody's gonna call you on it. All these things, but the whole time you're actually kind of living out this evil kind of life in which, though it might feel fulfilling or it might like feel good in the moment, it's not like what Jesus calls it to, like it's not for the greater good and whatnot. But so that was my story. I'm supposed to be moving to Chattanooga soon to like lead a ministry, kind of be an influencer of people.
When do you move?
So I move essentially like May 31st.
Okay,
that's what I'll say.
So you got a month left for this
move date. But it's gonna be interesting to see like how I'm having to deal with a bunch of different personalities and understanding that the Bible wasn't written to like put people in a box necessarily.
Right.
Like, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work like a catch-all. Like since everybody has a Bible, now everybody has the same exact personality. And that's been interesting to think about and see and really just understand that people are in different places. They have different backgrounds, different perspectives, different lives, different mindsets, and all that different stuff. So it's going to be very interesting to see, like, all right, as a helper, as a two, like how I can love people like the way that they need to be loved. And do it in a way that like isn't selfish or isn't prideful, but really caring about people first. And because I care about God and whatnot. So that's going to be very exciting. So you guys be praying for me about that.
For sure, man. Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said, like how the Bible wasn't like designed to put people in a box.
Yeah.
Like I think that could be a huge misconception, like nowadays, even like kind of outside of personality types. Like people are like, if you're going to like if you're gonna be a Christian and follow the Bible, then you've got to like be this type of person. You've got to follow this set of rules and you get very restricted, and it's like
rule following Christianity.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like some sort of like fascist, like no fun, like this and this and this.
I can't go out and drink with my friends. I'll pass.
Yeah, exactly. No, for real. And like what I love about the Bible, I've told people this many times. Like if you even if you weren't a Christian, like the Bible is still a good practical book.
Yeah.
Like if you read the Psalms as a non-Christian, or read the Proverbs talking about wisdom, and just
100%
just kept that,
yep,
like you'd be better off.
Yeah.
Like when you think about like today's society, like not getting smashed drunk every night, not
Yeah.
getting, blazed every second that you can, or not having sex with a bunch of people, like
Yeah.
outside of, just having that being a
moral thing.
a moral thing, like you have more money in your pocket from not,
Yeah.
buying an unbelievable amount of drugs or alcohol.
You don't have
For
kids.
sure.
Yeah, you don't have
Oh
kids that
my
you don't
gosh.
that you can't take care of. You don't
Yeah,
have like a
100%.
bunch more sexually transmitted diseases. Like, like it's just practical, and it's like these things, like God put them on earth not to just restrict us, but also to help us.
Yeah.
Like it's just practical, and I think that that's one thing that like a lot of
Yeah.
people can miss because of our sinful
Yeah.
nature.
Well, I was talking to this young lady the other night, and I it started unfolding and occurring to me how like dangerous adulthood is, because essentially we say you're an adult and you get the freedom once you're able to take care of yourself. So as soon as you're able to go to a job, kind of, output some effort, make a wage, get some money, you're now open up to a whole world of making your own decisions for yourself,
Right.
take care of yourself. But the thing is that you don't just grow up like from 13 to say around 20 something when you move out of the house nowadays. A lot of those appetites, hungers, and emotional instability don't actually leave just because you grew in age.
Yeah.
Like you become more mature in the sense that like you know that you need to go to work to get your money or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the other things, a lot of the kind of wisdom that you need to decision make and stuff like that will keep you out of trouble. Like a lot of that doesn't like people don't pick that up along the way because you have a whole bunch of like systems in place or situations in place where hurt people are fathers and mothers of children, and then people abandon people. Like we just went to the shelter today, or people make mistakes, and so there's this vicious cycle of people aren't learning how to be the best humans that they can, like the Bible is teaching. And so it's like so many people, like when you're getting ready to cross the road, that's more of an immediate thing. Like I know that I'm going to die if I'm crossing the road without looking. And so we get taught that like as a young person, and then that kind of stays with you, and you understand that if you don't take those necessary like safety precautions, you're going to die. But then when it comes to situations like, all right, should I sleep with this girl? Should I, party every night, or should I endeavor to like get in drugs and
The answer is
X,
yes.
X, Y,
To all
X,
of
Y, Z. Like, well, you don't think about
The
like the consequences because they don't necessarily hit you right then. They're not as immediate.
Yeah.
But there's still that appetite and that hunger. Like the appetite and the hunger to even do those things are much higher than just crossing a road.
Yeah.
So you're much more prone to not even think about the dangers simply because of like your appetite for pleasure and things of that sort, and also like just your emotions and whatnot. So it's very much a everybody set up to fail kind of thing if there isn't like some level of guidance that people can be very passionate about, because it's like, well, you're not going to be able to restrict me, like, because I get to do what I want to do. Like I got out of the house, this is time for me to live how I want to live, so I probably will do everything in my power to mess up the world once I get that freedom. So
to take on the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love also how you my mind blanked. Snap. Like kind of how you were talking about how like one of the things that I love also about the Enneagram as well was like we talked about. I think we talked about the difference between it and the Myers-Briggs test when we were at Chick-fil-A, and like the clear like difference to me was like how it goes towards like Christians as well. Like it can tell you like what like in a moral sense, like how your personality can be better and oriented. And like these podcasts that we talk about, like people with these like guests and stuff like that can talk about, you know, different personality types and how they can be better in their personality type, how they can be more healthy of that type, you know, towards God and towards other people. You know, I think like hearing the Myers-Briggs test and being like, I was what's interesting is I was introverted when I entered the ministry, and then like after having been part of the ministry, I'm now extroverted.
Yeah.
You know, like I changed, and like I'm like, okay, like that's cool. I know that I'm extroverted, but it's like there wasn't like kind of like an application to it, you know. And like this like just went down to my core, broke down like things that I haven't even processed myself yet. And I'm like, wow, I do those things. Like kind of like you were talking about earlier, where we just act things out, and like we may not even notice that we do them. It's just naturally how we, you know, how we function. And it's like, okay, so like that's how you naturally function. Here's how to use that in an even more healthy way, you know? So
here's how to kind of take your ugly side and then make it more pretty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Instead
also,
of just giving you like, all right, here's what you are.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also think like when I took the Myers-Briggs, when I took this one, the questions were deep, but like there wasn't like a right or wrong answer to them. When I took the Myers-Briggs, there were a lot of questions that were like, I would look at them and said, like, I don't necessarily feel this way, but like I know that the spiritual answer would be to put that I feel this way. So I also feel like a lot of like people, if you're Christians or something, and if you're following Jesus, you're going to, if you take the Myers-Briggs, you're probably going to, at least on some level, all fit in the same type of mold because of that type of question. But like what I appreciated about this last one is like, like I said, none of them were like, they were all questions like, do you think before you speak? Just to bring that one back. And like, that's not something that like, if I say yes, I feel sinful. That's not something that if I say no, I'm like, oh, I'm inherently spiritual. It's something that's like, this is something that's a part of my character that like, you know, obviously, you know, this is something I realize I need to work on, but like, it's not something that when I get to heaven, Jesus said, hey, you know, you need to think more before you speak. Bye. See ya. Yeah. Like, so I feel like it's a better representation of like Christian people in a sense that like we're all in the basic same group moving forward.
Well, it seemed like the Enneagram questions were it's kind of getting in the test, kind of getting into already like what kind of person are you? Yeah. Whereas in the what is it, Myers-Briggs? Yeah. Like the questions are more so like, what do you think ideally? What in these situations? What's most ideal? Right. Or like, what do you see yourself doing in this scenario? And it kind of makes you think too much in the sense of like I think like you said, well, this is what the Christian would do, or if I say that I would do this, then that makes me unspiritual or whatever. Yeah. Whereas in the Enneagram, it's like who are you? I feel like you're asking every question, like who are you?
Joel, did you ever take the Myers-Briggs test?
Myers-Briggs?
Yeah.
Yes, and I think I had the same what's it called? The same personality type as Robert Downey Jr. That's all I remember.
Okay. Because I was thinking about like when Joel's talking about, or not Joel, like JJ's talking about like thinking too much, and I'm like, for someone that's like a 6-wing-5 or someone that can be like really anxious about stuff, like in a Myers-Briggs test, like the question is like, if you're at a party, are you the person that's, you know, in the middle of the dance floor, or are you? It depends. Are you sitting on the side? And it's like for me, it depends on like what music is playing.
It depends on the group. Like if I'm with a bunch of friends, I'm in the middle of it all. But like if I'm at like a for instance, like a job gathering, like I'm on the side. Like who cares about these people? I don't want to talk to y'all.
And I'm like, I could see someone that like just thinks a whole lot and is anxious about it. Is like starts the test and is like, I can't do this. It's making me anxious.
As in what type of test?
The Myers-Briggs. With putting you like in situations where you have to think. Because also like, you're not like in the Enneagram test. It's just who you are. Yeah. Like it's easy to think about. It's not putting you in a situation, and it's hard to think of like what you would do in a certain situation if you're not in it in the moment. Right. Yeah. You know.
But like, I know that. So, please don't listen to the 6 episode of the Anycast.
I'm going to now.
Now that you said that, I have
I'm
to.
literally going to.
Okay,
I have
so
all
the
day at
first
work on
one.
Monday.
the reason why
I'm
is
pulling it
because
up right now.
the episode when they talk about the six and sort of like the unhealthy, the unresourceful six, it's like they look up to people. They're skeptical. They are the skeptics. So if you're a skeptic, you are a six. Like there's no difference. So they're always like so. And while I was talking with Wade about it. He decided to just randomly open it up in our apartment because we have Google Chrome and the Google Chrome thing, so we could put it on the TV. And Chromecast is the name of it. So he put it on there, and then he started talking about it started showing it, and then we got to the end, and I'm just like. And we were just talking, and then as I was about to leave the apartment to go do some, homework or something, because I'm always doing that.
Yeah.
I was just saying, this might not be, completely accurate, because you know how Myers-Briggs is, it's inaccurate. Myers-Briggs is very inaccurate. And, I mean,
To our listeners, he doesn't mean that.
No. Okay.
Myers-Briggs measures your personality, which can change. Enneagram kind of measures your ego, your id, something. It's what you're born is who you are.
I feel like
let me explain it.
I feel like Myers-Briggs is just more general. I think that it leaves
and it
a lot
can
more.
change based on your personality.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that Myers-Briggs was not, it's not legitimate. I have if anybody's watched Adam Ruins Everything, he essentially explains why it's actually not
It's just invalid.
It was set up in a really terrible way. But
Interesting.
So I've already had that sort of skepticism of Myers-Briggs and personality tests in general, and most tests of personality, including the sort of zodiac signs and stuff like that. I'm skeptical of zodiac signs.
Listen, zodiac signs are real. I had a college professor teach me that they're true.
Besides that, so I've already had the sort of skeptic of hey, Enneagram might not be right and everything. Mm-hmm. And then literally as I left, I was like, wait a minute. And then I came back in because I needed to get something. And they were like, Joel, that's literally proof that you're a 6. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
So
kind of working on itself. That's crazy.
Speaking of your religion professor, we can't even mention on this podcast half the things that one professor told
so
you.
this other professor is a
not
history
appropriate.
teacher. Yeah, he's a history teacher. He studies so USC the history department is a research department, which means all the professors, they're not there just to teach. They do research and they teach on the side. Unlike schools such as Auburn, Roll Tide, which are academic departments where if the teacher doesn't have so many students come into their room for extra lessons or whatever, they get fired because they're purely for academics. So all the professors do research, and there's this one professor, I'm not going to name him, he's weird. He does research specifically on Middle Eastern magic, religion, and the development of magic and specifically Islamic type magic in modern society, if that makes sense. And so when I took the class, he talked a lot about math as magic, all this kind of other stuff.
Of course.
And he was a big proponent of the zodiacs are true and you can actually read zodiac signs. And one of our assignments was doing geomancy, which is communing with the Mother Earth spirits to foretell the future. And I was like, this is whack. What the heck? But he also has I was cool with it until the end. We had to read this one assignment, and I was done. I quit paying attention, quit doing any of the work because we had to read this one thing that was essentially the Big Bang wasn't really the big. There's not really a Big Bang.
Yeah.
See, no, here's the thing though. You we laugh at that and stuff, but
people believe that.
People, first of all, people believe that, but this was last semester or was this last year?
Last year.
Yeah. So
People are teaching this.
Yeah, like people are teaching this at a university where people are paying a lot of money to go to class. But also like, I was like thinking about it, and like, you came home, like of course every other day when you had this college course, and it was almost like podcast worthy, like asking you what like project you had, or what like new thing like this guy was like teaching you, like that he sincerely believed was true, like he actually believed it was like.
I'll
like
give you a couple.
stuff.
So he was like, we were sitting there one day, and he was like, yeah, you can summon angels and you have them do your bidding. Here's how. And like first you have to make this magic like protection circle on the ground so that like they don't get out of the circle and kill you. And I'm sitting here imagining like some guy summoning like say the Archangel Gabriel to like this magic circle and be like, hi, you're in the circle, you can't get me. And then Gabriel just like looking at the circle and like stepping over the line and just staring him down as he's outside the circle. Yeah.
It's like something out of Supernatural.
I think that would be funny, like just seeing that dude's face. But like in order to do it, you make the circle and then you have to like use the angel's real name to summon the angel. So first you gotta do a magic square. A magic square, for those of you who don't know, it's a Sudoku puzzle. So once you complete the magic Sudoku puzzle, you get the angel's name. And he showed us this like picture of this ancient like one they found in like somewhere where they had found the angel's name Paziza. I'm like, you literally just did a Sudoku so you could summon the angel pizza. Like what the heck? And then there was another one.
Angelic pizza.
Well, yeah.
There was another one where he ranted for about half the class about how there's a spiritual war going on between all the Wiccans and like the warlocks in the world and Donald Trump, but that they haven't assassinated him because all Trump's wizards are using magic to counteract all their assassination magic. And I was like, what were you smoking before you came into this class right now, dude? Like, how are you getting paid for this? It was whack.
This is a tenured professor.
Yeah.
That's intense.
It's just, it's crazy, man. I love that. Yeah, you just had story after story just coming back. Yeah, hey, you're not gonna believe this. Like, you remember what we talked about last week? I got something better than that.
Yeah, we've been talking about personalities though, and personality tests, and I can't believe we have not talked about the most important personality test there's out there right now, which is the Hogwarts sorting house test.
And pass me some Skittles on that.
Oh yeah, sure. I got you. There's like 7 left, I think.
You probably haven't taken that.
I know that I got Gryffindor.
Hey, that's the best one.
When I took the personality test.
That's the best one.
I've seen one Harry Potter movie in my life. It was the first one, and then that was it. I had a sheltered background. So
I'm a repeated Hufflepuff.
I had a sheltered background, and my parents were like, "That's witchcraft. You will never watch anything of that kind." And so I never watched it or understood it. I still like have a very, very shallow understanding of it.
Well, you watched one movie.
I watched one. Like, it was alright. Like, I felt like it kind of worked towards that angle of what, like, one of those. It was like an Adam Sandler movie where, like, everything works out perfectly for, like, the protagonist in the movie, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, they get the girl, they get the money, they get everything, and, like, the antagonist is, like, left with nothing. And it's, like, hilarious.
But
like,
at the end of the movie, he's
way.
still stuck in the broom closet.
Yeah. So it's like...
Yeah, they get significantly darker and better.
Yeah.
But, amen.
What? Cut it?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to end it there. Wait, you cut it already?
No, I didn't.
All right.
Don't worry.
We're gonna end it there. And it's a short episode this week. So do that what you will.
Thanks, JJ, for
thanks
featuring.
for that. I had all kinds of things I want to talk about, but this was significantly more interesting to me than talking about what y'all think is going to happen in Attack on Titan.
Thank you guys. I loved it.
Yeah, man.
I can't wait to hear the Attack on Titan conversation.
Yeah. So that comes out on tomorrow. So next week, I guess we'll just get some nerds and we'll just discuss what we think is going to happen in this next season.
Wait, it comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, the first episode.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, wait,
season.
we're doing that reaction, right?
So I want to do a reaction to a specific episode, and I'm not going to tell you which one. I'll know it when I see it. Like, I'll know when that episode's coming up.
We should.
Because I'm for those of you who are looking forward to that as well, I'm the only one that's read the manga, and so I know what's happening.
Do you watch Attack on Titan?
Yeah, for sure.
We can talk about it.
I said we should have you back on when we talk about
I
the show.
love it. Well,
Before you go to
Well,
Tennessee.
okay, so just real quick, y'all haven't read the manga, have you?
No. Have you?
No.
So just real quick before we leave, what are you looking forward to the most, and what do you think is in the basement? Just two questions, real quick.
So here's what when we were talking
need a
before the
refresh.
podcast. When we were talking before the podcast, I
You
think
need a refresher.
definitely what I'm gonna need to do before I before I watch this next episode is I'm gonna have to watch where we left off kind of deal, like the last episode of the part 1 of season 3.
Also, it comes out tomorrow on Crunchyroll, just like a day behind.
Yeah, I was saying I thought it was today because today's the 27th.
No. So it
Like
comes out on
premium
the
members
28th.
can see it today, right?
I don't think so. The episodes come out Sunday.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'll look it up to see if it's on right now. But yeah, so
so I'm like, man, I'm hoping that they give a lot more exposition on like the humans out like way outside the walls. Like they're like, all right, we're going beyond the wall. This is it.
yeah, it's funny that
I really want to know like what's out there because like the whole time like that we've been watching it, like you've been hinting at like that there's like something bigger and like they've been hinting that it's like a big part of a bigger plan and like something like that, like this is kind of like controlled or something like that, and I really want to delve deeper into that. Also, I think I'm just interested in why Levi was fighting Mikasa.
Oh yeah, in that last scene.
In the trailer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So this season I'm looking forward to it, and I will keep watching as long as Sasha's alive because she's my favorite character.
And what do you think is in the basement?
Probably I don't know. I have no idea.
Because the only thing that we've been told is that like the truth of the world is in there. I'm like that is very vague and weird.
Oh, it's been so kind of captivating that I almost feel like I'm really in the story, and that I absolutely need to know the secrets of what's in the basement. But
What are you looking forward to
well,
this season?
I was just gonna say I want my questions answered, but I think I need to refresh and see, remember what my questions were.
So
definitely gotta watch the last
I'll
episode.
answer this question and then we can cut it. So
Quick question.
Yeah.
Or not even a quick question. Just a really random thing that's totally left field. Your left field fact of the day.
Okay. We stopped recording 10 minutes ago. That's
No.
the left field fact of the day.
No, the left field fact of the day is that there is such thing as VeggieTale memes, and the fact that VeggieTales is officially coming back.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Okay,
like
my
the
children will have a
original
child.
style of VeggieTales is coming back. Anyway, back to Attack on
So,
Titans.
I read the manga. Back during season 2, I was kind of like just on some message boards, and they were like, "Here's a spoiler," and me and like everyone else on the message boards were like, "Why would you do this?" And the guy said like, "Hey, it's been out for like 2 years. Like, just read it. It's not like a spoiler anymore." And I was like, "Oh, you're right." And then I was just doing some research and stuff, and I kept coming across terms and names I didn't recognize. So I was like, I just got to read it. So I don't really want to give away that much, but like what I'm really looking forward to.
I'll close my ears.
What I'm definitely looking forward to is in the last episode, when they panned to Reinar, there was
The dude got stomped.
well in the last episode when they panned to Reinar and he's just sitting on the wall. The dude standing beside him is one of my favorite characters of the show, and he wasn't in this arc. Like he comes in after this arc.
With the glasses.
No, he doesn't have.
Not the Beast Titan guy.
Not the Beast Titan guy.
Yeah.
No, so and y'all see him when you watch the episode again. But like the very last scene of this episode, as they're like riding towards the wall of the last episode, is Reinar sitting on the wall, and there's this dude standing behind him. And I originally thought it was Bertolt, but like when you look at it again, it's not. That guy, I'm not gonna tell you who he is. I'm not gonna tell you anything about him. He's one of my favorite characters, and he wasn't in this arc. He's in the next arc, which is really exciting to me because that means that like there's a lot of stuff involved with him that means a lot for some of the characters, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm really excited to see how he plays into this arc. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Also, like they're going back to Shinganshima, which is the basement, so it'll be fantastic. We're going to find out what's in it. It'll be great. But yeah, so we'll end it there, and then for those of you who want to keep listening to
Thanks to our sound effects department, Zach Taylor.
Yeah.
And Mario.
Yeah, we'll
Ready to
have
see.
our Avengers discussion up in this week as well. That'll be just 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Where we're just going to talk about nothing but Endgame. So if you want to be part of that, listen to it. And if you don't want to be a part of that, don't listen to it.
Yeah, I actually think that I will have that be just a YouTube video instead
Okay.
of.
That's
Yeah.
cool. So it won't be on the feed. Just
Check
go
out
to
the-
YouTube. We have a YouTube channel apparently.
Check out.
Did you not know this?
The link
I did.
will be in the comments.
Link will be in the description above or below.
Link in the bio.
Below, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.